Introduction. The easiest approach to speech delivery is not always the best. Unless you devote substantial work to carefully prepare an interesting and ethical message, you can mess it up by simply reading it word for word. Once you do this, you miss out on one of the major reasons for studying public speaking: to learn ways to connect with your audience and to increase your confidence in doing so. You already know how to read, and you already know how to talk. But public speaking is neither reading nor talking. Speaking in public is more formal than talking. During a speech, you should present yourself professionally. Through this module, you will be able to practice your speaking skills through understanding the different types of speech delivery and presenting sample speeches using the types of speech delivery. Objectives. Specifically, after working on this module, you should be able to do the following. Differentiate the types of speech delivery. Understand when to use each of the 4 methods of speech delivery. Construct their own speech and deliver it to the class. Lesson proper. Speeches are classified on the basis of the situations in which they are given, the style or mode of delivery, and the preparation required. Each of them has distinctive characteristics and is appropriate for different speaking situations. The 4 types of speeches according to manner of delivery are impromptu, extemporaneous, manuscript, and memorized. Impromptu speech. A speaker usually experiences giving an impromptu speech when he/she is requested to talk on the spot. Sometimes, it happens during a meeting when the boss asks him/her to give a reaction to a certain issue of the company or the value of seminar that he/she has attended. Even in special events like birthdays, debuts, and weddings, one might be asked to give a short message. There are impromptu speech situations that one needs to be ready to deliver a speech, such as filling in for a late speaker, giving a toast at a company, answering ambush interviews, giving a farewell speech to a resigning colleague, and other unexpected situations. A spontaneous and with no practice impromptu speech usually comes only from the speaker's existing knowledge, experience, feelings, and opinions. Some considerations in preparing an impromptu speech. Think for a second about what to say. Keep the points brief and direct to the point. No need to embellish, exaggerate, or stretch the truth. Take a few seconds between thoughts to compose oneself. Share from personal experiences. Make a memorable conclusion that would capture the audience's attention. You may also profit from Fletcher and Krachive's 2001 Tips for an Effective Impromptu Delivery, as cited in Padilla et al., 2016. Step up to speak with confidence. Maintain contact with your audience. Avoid saying so, you know, well, okay. Stop at the end of an idea. Do not hook sentence together with fillers, like and so on. Maintain good posture. Never lean on the lectern nor cross your legs. Speak loud enough to be heard easily. Gesture effectively. Appear to enjoy speaking. Appear confident and relaxed. Speak with enthusiasm. Hide your goofs and blunders. Sit down when you are done. Advantages of impromptu speech. It gives you an opportunity to present your ideas, make appeals, or disseminate information at a time most needed by the listeners, which may have some value and impact. It also provides you with a chance to improve your image in the minds of the audience. It allows for spontaneity, which requires minimal planning and practice. Disadvantages of impromptu speech. It often results in poor performance. It is very likely that you are going to ramble, wander, and waste not only your time but also that of the audience. It makes you nervous. Although you realize the situation may not come up often, you are still worried about your not being able to do a good job. It discourages audience adaptation. It discourages planned research. It has uncertain outcomes. Extemporaneous speech. This is the type of delivery that most speakers use frequently because of its usefulness in most speaking situations. In this kind of speech, a speaker is given an opportunity to prepare that makes him confident during the speech presentation. She delivers the speech by referring occasionally to brief notes or be recalling from memory the points, ideas, and specifics, but there is no need to write the speech or memorize it. In preparing this types of speech, the speaker has to establish a purpose, gather data, organize, and practice it. These are possible occasions for the delivery of an extemporaneous speech. Campaigns. Fundraising activities. Seminar lectures. Reports to government agencies. Talks about a trip, a study, or an event. State of the Nation addresses (SONAs). Class reports. Sales. Briefings. You can boost your self-confidence and successfully go through the delivery of your extemporaneous speech by observing these tips. Lull and Koopman, 2012. Starting your speech. Move to the front of the room or stage and face the audience. Assume a relaxed but upright position. Plant your feet apart, a bit less than your shoulder width, and allow your arms to hang loosely by your side. Arrange your notes before you start to speak. Look at your audience and smile. Gestures. Feel free to use your hands to gesture, but do not plan all your gestures ahead of time. Gestures should flow naturally from your feelings. Do your best to avoid nervous mannerisms, such as twisting your hair, wringing your hands, shifting your weight from one foot to the other, or tapping your fingers on the lectern. Eye contact. Look at the left, right, and center part of the room. Eye contact with the audience does not mean to speak excessively to one or two sympathetic individuals. Voice. Try to use your voice as expressively as you would in normal conversation. Make a conscious effort to speak up, slow down, and project clearly. Concentrate on projecting your voice to the back of the room and fight against racing through your speech. Advantages of extemporaneous speech. Lull and Koopman, 2012. It gives more precise control over thought and language. It offers great spontaneity and directness. It is adaptable to a wide range of situations. It also encourages the conversational quality audience look for in speech delivery. It appears effortless. It invites bodily movements, gestures, and rapid nonverbal response. Disadvantages of extemporaneous speech. Lull and Koopman, 2012. Too much preparation is involved. It is a potential for miscommunication because of unpredictable, spontaneous word choices. Manuscript speech. In situations that call for a speaker to present a speech verbatim, such as presenting policies, contracts, and/or specific reports, a manuscript speech is used. In this delivery mode, the speaker has the advantage to provide assurance that she will be able to deliver the exact words and the message she wants to present with absolute precision. However, its use becomes a disadvantage if the speaker reads the manuscript during a presentation, as it reduces the ability to make eye contact with the audience and adapt to their feedback. In addition, it is hard to include the speaker's feelings and thereby loses her emphasis to the main point of the speech. The audience tends to favor an extemporaneous style because written language is more complex and less personal. This written-out speech is read in its entirety when delivered. The following situations call for this kind of speech. Ceremonial speeches, such as eulogies, tributes, and awards. Political speeches. Radio and TV speeches. Presentation of a policy. Advantages of manuscript speech, Lull and Koopman, 2012. Generally, the complete manuscript prevents slip of the tongue, poor wording, and distortion of ideas. It often boosts your confidence as presenter because you are assured of the security of a manuscript. Disadvantages of manuscript speech. Disadvantages usually outweigh the advantages, however, since while using a manuscript might make you, the speaker, feel more confident, your delivery often suffers. Among the problems you encounter when resorting to a read or manuscript speech are the following: Lull and Koopman, 2012. Manuscripts frequently reduce eye contact because you are more focused on reading rather than observing the audience. It hinders audience adaptation. As you read, you usually fail to watch the audience. This makes it quite difficult for you to observe audience feedback, so you fail to give them the required suitable response. Reading limits your use of gestures to emphasize or illustrate points. Vocal variety may also be lacking because you read the bulk of your presentation. The pacing of the presentation may become too rapid or too slow, and instead of sounding conversational, your speech may sound like an essay being read. To minimize the problems of a manuscript delivery, take note of these tips and follow them. Write the speech word for word in an oral style, using short sentences and fragments and incorporating strategies such as personalized language and rhetorical questions that help you connect with the audience and avoid very formal, unnatural language. Rehearse by reading each sentence aloud several times, absorbing the meaning of each phrase to allow you to use the much-needed appropriate nonverbal language. Read the entire manuscript aloud and decide which ideas need emphasis, highlight or underline them, and where you want to pause, use slash to achieve this emphasis. Read the manuscript again, emphasizing words, pausing, and looking up as much as possible for audience feedback. Go back and change any wording that does not sound like you are actually speaking. Memorized speech. This type of speech is useful and appropriate in receiving an award, welcoming very important dignitaries, giving a wedding toast, and other situations that require the delivery of short speeches. In reality, few opt to use a memorized speech because it lacks feelings, sincerity, and spontaneity, not to mention it takes time to memorize. If the speaker forgets a line or word, she may find it difficult to recover and continue the speech. This type of speech is utilized in situations like the following: oratorical competitions, presentation of high-level awards, welcoming very important dignitaries, political speeches, banquet speeches. Advantages of memorized speech, Lull and Koopman, 2012. It permits maximum use of delivery skills. Every variation in the voice can be mastered, every oral paragraph stated in correct cadence, and every word correctly pronounced at the right volume. You can have continuous eye contact. Bodily movements and gestures are free. While the memorized speech method does not eliminate your trying to recall or search for the next word, you are simply searching your memory instead of notes or manuscripts. Disadvantages of memorized speech, Lull and Koopman, 2012. It permits little or no adaptation during delivery. You are likely to focus more on the internalized, or memorized, manuscript than on the listeners. If the audience appears to have missed a point, you have difficulty in explaining the point in greater detail. Recovery is more difficult if you make a mistake. If you forget a line, you have to search for the exact place where you dropped your line. For beginning speakers, the presentation sounds memorized, the wording is too smooth, the pacing too contrived, and the presentation is too much of a performance instead of a communicative competence. It takes substantial time to prepare and memorize. Like any of the other speech types discussed based on the mode of delivery, there are also remedies or tips that you can bear in mind for an effective memorized delivery. Write your talk on its entirety, again using oral style. You can aid your memory by using vivid, easy-to-recall language, such as alliterated main points or parallel wording. Commit your speech to memory line by line first, and then chunk by chunk. As you rehearse a line, think about its meaning to help you learn it by root and remember it more easily. Practice speaking conversationally as if you are talking to each audience member individually every time you repeat what you memorize. Finally, take note cards with key terms to the podium in case you find yourself forgetting. Other strategies for effective delivery. Speak loud enough. Vary the voice's rate, pitch, and volume. Avoid vocalized pauses. Articulate the words clearly and pronounce them correctly. Dress for the occasion. Face the audience and make eye contact with everyone. Display appropriate facial expressions. Maintain good posture. Move with purpose and spontaneity. Avoid physical barriers. Thank you.